Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Do It Live podcast. I am Kat and want to welcome y'all that are here live and watching online later. And we are on the home stretch of Autonomy Season 7. And we'll be sharing some happenings of the week. And I look forward to all of this. So, thank you for being here. Adam, Ryan, Michael, turn on your cameras. Richard, Jill, let me see you guys. Hey, Michael, thank you. Good to have company. I was watching you on the interviewing Ron Renaud, who's been doing the uncompromised accountability. That's a fascinating series that's been going on for the last few weeks. And this week was the first time I watched a bit of one and watched your interview. Have you been doing it the whole time?
I have. Yeah, awesome. I got a chance to get introduced to Ron, I think back in February. I had a call with him, and then, he actually prepared something for Agora Poco for us, which I published, and subsequently I've been able to kind of befriend Ron to a certain degree, and man, he's just such a talented guy with so many great attributes and skills that as far as an addition to autonomy and like what he brings to the table, he's a great add. And it just makes our community that much better. And I feel like that's an example of what we should all be emulating. Is bringing our best to the table here at Autonomy, and affecting our fellow students and graduates in a way that is positive.
Yeah, and I love the way he said that he feels like he's found his community here. He feels like he's talking to his people. When he talks about accountability and integrity and straight conversations and truth, it's a great community to have those conversations in.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking from somebody that's been here since season 2, I mean, this is what I think is happening in autonomy, is that like we started off with Richard kind of being the initial star that everybody recognized and sees like how much he brings to the table. But now that we're starting to mature into a community of people, there's a lot of people that are kind of distinguishing themselves in their own uniqueness and their own unique way, and we're starting to see how that is is growing into something much more community like.
Right. I can't wait to be in more of the conversations with Ron. I love the one I listened to this week about what makes for potent accountability and how will you conspire, and how we get our accountability buddies, and then if we don't look out, we just turn into buddies, because if I'm tough on you, then you might be tough on me, and it's all just nicer and easier if we're not. But that doesn't get us to our goals and hold us to our highest self.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would say that, this is kind of where my area of expertise comes into play. And actually, we were just having this discussion in the Great Books discussion that we have, just prior to Do It Live. The idea of three, and essentially a syllogism, in Aristotle's prior or post-analytic, which is the discussion we're having at the moment. He's talking about like how you reason things with syllogisms, and certainly it's like 3 parts. And so one of the things that I'm kind of bringing to the table is this idea of like the power of 3, something I cover in my ethical emergence course. but it's I think it's also helpful in this accountability thing, and maybe something that I'm offering as far as a additional piece of knowledge, is that when you bring three perspectives together, you get a heck of a lot more understanding, you know. And so like when we're talking about partners, you know, like having those partners as opposed to like what Ron brings to the table. So like you have your experience, but then you bring it back to Ron and you talk about what was accomplished. That's when the magic really happens, and we get learning. And I think this is, you know, like one of the segments is of the Discord channel, which is the accountability chat, is this opportunity for us to have our own experiences, but then be able to relate those experiences to, you know, somebody that's like a master, and really give everybody else that opportunity to learn from those experiences. I think the sky is the limit in that regard.
Yeah, for sure. And then what was the other thing? Oh, the mental emotional kung fu with Daryl Becker was this week. Were you on that one? Can you share anything about how that went?
I you know, that's like my time constraint, and you know, I would love to be there for that one, because I do appreciate Daryl's perspective, but I have not been in that one.
Yeah, is anyone here? Was anyone here on that one? Yeah, I find it is the amount of information and education that's available in the autonomy program and the autonomy community is incredible. There is so much available, and you know, if you have the time, you get more out of it the more you invest into it. And I'm focusing on the core of the curriculum, which is the Friday night lectures and the Q&As, and you know, get to other things when I can. So and then there are the of course the exercises. What are they called? The
integration exercises.
Yeah. Did anybody do any of those this week? We got a bunch of watchers here. Adam Biggleson, are you here? Turn on your video for us.
Hold on. I'm here. Oops, wait, I'm there. Hold on. One moment.
Adam and I did an integration exercise together a while ago.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Did you participate in any of the autonomy events this week?
No, actually, I've been traveling for the last 2 weeks and just regrounding and getting my head back into my own reality. So have not had a chance to do my homework. I feel like a bad student, you know, gonna get a bad grade in class.
You're forgiven.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But good to see you guys. Yeah, I just came home and was just getting stuff done, and I thought, the pop-up said do it live, so I was going to put that on in the background and kind of eavesdrop a little bit. So you called me out. Kat says, come on, join the party. Damn it. I got stuff to do. Look at all my Post-its. I have so much stuff to do.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'm working on I got all my index cards. I'm just showing you the back, but these are all my cards of things to do for getting things done.
Nice. Yeah, it's funny. I want to do all these exercises. It's a question I'll have for tomorrow at the Q&A. I want to do my homework. I'm so excited to do these things. I love to learn, and my time has just been so crazy traveling. I'm going to blame it on Mercury in retrograde, which is what I like to do. Blame it on the stars, because nothing got done over the last couple of weeks. And I'm just so happy to be home to get to work. But I haven't had a chance to do, I think, any integration exercises since the initial interview one, which is funny because as I did some interviews with Jill and Kat and Michael and Ryan and Adam, and we're going to meet soon. Yeah. My brother and I just did an interview the other day with Daniel Roytos, a guy from Australia. And it's so cool. He interviewed Josh and I feel like this is other side of the world, so we are officially worldwide. And I want to share the interview with the class because I'm proud, and I've tried to do my exercises, and part of the interview experience is to listen and I will share the interview with you guys, and let's see if I was listening at all or
awesome.
Not.
We will be happy to listen and give you feedback for sure.
The joke is Josh and I talk, and I thought, I'm going to listen this time. And thanks to autonomy, I've been forced to listen. It's homework. And then I think we got on that interview, and I don't know how much we listened, but we have to be authentic and genuine, right?
It's good.
Yeah.
Don't have to be. It just has its benefits.
Nice.
I'll bring up this point because this is something else that I've experienced through the kind of the learning experience in autonomy is one in which, like recording your interviews, like the interview that I just did with Ron, in the moment of the interview, it's, kind of easy to not listen, to be like preparing your next response and oh, I got this, you said that. I know something about that. Let me, prepare my response for that. And you don't listen. And, one of the things I've learned through my own practice with what I call ethical emergence, my course, I do a 1 hour interview, but I record that interview and then I listen to it again. And every time I do that, it's like, holy cow, there's so much information that in the moment I'm missing because I'm not listening. I'm thinking about like what I'm going to respond.
Sure.
And kind of this is something that I think we get the opportunity to do with Richard in the course and kind of the lifetime commitment. For me going through this course, a number of times now. There's this constant discovery of all the things that you didn't listen to the first time.
I'm looking forward to some feedback. It's the funny thing is, Michael, is I can listen. I learned that. But once you get me started, it's kind of like I'm so excited with what we have to share that the momentum goes and blah, 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 and that's like, just sit back and let him go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna watch the interview. That's part of the rest of my weekend. Is everyone says it was great. I had a good time doing it. We have awesome stuff to share. Yeah, did we let him talk at all? I wonder.
We'll find out. Michael, you touched on one of the things that I love, that we get to keep coming back season after season. Okay, we're not going to get it all the first time. Like I said, it's an incredible amount of material, and we get to keep coming back. So this is a beginning for those of us who just started this season.
Well, I feel like school is almost over. Like summer is coming, and I was that nerdy kid that I liked summer and all, but I kind of like school because we're all hanging out together. And so I hope that, yes, as school is over soon for us, that it just continues on because, yeah, I got more homework to do and more people to chat with and listen to and that stuff. So I assume it keeps going, Michael, yeah?
Well, we're going to add to that table a smorgasbord of things. We've got a little bit of an announcement coming up on a new little project that a couple of us, the new students, are putting together that will probably add to the experience and kind of extend that opportunity to, for people to continue the engagement and interacting with each other over the summer break, I think, to some degree. But we'll talk about that in Q&A tomorrow.
Oh, great.
Cool.
Does anyone who's come on have something you want to jump in and ask about your weekend?
Can I turn my camera off real quick? So, because I'm going to do stuff and I don't want to be that guy bouncing around.
Sure. Thanks, Adam.
Thanks for bringing me in, Kat. See you guys. I'll be here.
Adam, if you're listening, you don't have to participate for this, but just to add on to your listening skills, it's not easy when you're being interviewed, especially, and you have specific information that you're trying to get out there. So sometimes the questions can kind of sidetrack you from that message in a way. So it's a tricky balance. I haven't done autonomy is my first time interviewing with students. And, I have one interview that I did about homeschooling on a podcast, and I had a outline of what I wanted to say. And so the host was asking me questions and other people watching were asking me questions. And when I watched it back, I realized it was twofold. I was so nervous that I couldn't even process what they were saying. and answer it appropriately. And also, like, I had an outline of what I wanted to say. And to a point, the questions kind of derailed me from what I was trying to squeeze in. So the nice thing about autonomy is just giving us practice. Like, the more I practice, the less nervous I feel. And then listening to people's questions, and then maybe that does fit into your outline, or maybe you're able to share something that you hadn't planned on, but that's still valuable. So I think being interviewed and being the interviewer are both really difficult. So I'm happy for this practice.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Jill. Yeah, you'll see. I get so excited and I just run. It's hilarious. And yeah, questions. There's that time where I feel like I have to say everything, because then after the interview, I go, "Damn it, we didn't say this, and we didn't say this, and we didn't say this," and but they can always come to our website and find us, ask us questions. So I don't
Which
need
leads us on. See, in my mind, you guys are like talking about what I'm feeling in my mind, because I've got this agenda, I've got these things I want to cover. Like, I'm the host, so like that's half of what I'm thinking about instead of what you guys are saying, and it's crazy. But that's being human, I guess. And the more we do it, the better we get, right? When I share these slides, are you going to see them? I sure hope so. So this is great because like Friday night lecture was about internet marketing. So we're all working on that. Well, I don't know if we're all working on it, but Richard's certainly been talking about it. Designing an internet marketing strategy and having lead magnets and funnels and follow-ups. And we want to say everything the first time. And it just doesn't work, right? People can't absorb everything in the first conversation or the first email or the first web page or the first interview, So, the goal is to establish that connection with them so that you can follow up with them. Those that are interested get more information. And I pulled up a couple of slides that I wanted to share from Friday night's talk. So many people just talk about like how many subscribers you have, and Richard went into so much more depth that it's not all about just how many subscribers you have, although you start with drawing people in. And so this slide talked about, can you see this slide on leads coming from? So leads come from making a compelling offer for a free info download. So, for Adam, for Jill, if someone's interested in health, on a different perspective on staying healthy, being healthy, getting healthy, and Jill, if they're interested in homeschooling, the first step is just connecting with those people that are interested. So, there's this question, what can you give as a free download to get in touch? Give them value immediately. Next step, provide unexpected value. I like that. I've done some stuff. Usually I give what I promised. I don't know that I give unexpected value. That's such a cool idea. And then next step, ask if they'd like more help or guidance with their endeavor. Anyone else have any thoughts on this slide from Friday?
I think it's a beautiful thing. And Kat, you're doing a beautiful job so far. So keep it up. You're keeping this interesting. But yeah, this is autonomy 101 as far as becoming an entrepreneur. I think this is really good stuff, because it really hammers it home that how easy it is to really bring something of value to the table. And if you can see a problem that people are having and you have some immediate value that you can give to them, giving them that in a significant way, in a recognizable way, is that lead to creating a business.
And I would add that this is where another place where practice really comes in handy, and guidance. And part of the unexpected value to me of autonomy. So since autonomy, I've become familiar with a lead magnet. I had no clue what that was before. And then through taking the copywriting course, you had a chance to create your own. And so I thought, oh, no problem. Well, I turn it into Kara, and it's like, I just turned it into like this marketing, like advertising push, which is funny because I say I don't like sales. And then, I go like straight for the sales jugular, and it's like, that's not what a lead magnet is. And then, so having a low pressure environment, just practicing, and I think that she allows the opportunity for that as well in the monthly meetings for people to take their practice to her and refine it. And so yeah, this stuff, it all sounds pretty straightforward, but it actually takes practice, or for people like me anyhow. So I'm grateful for the chance to be able to do that.
Yeah. Step one is finding out what, well, I don't know if it's step one. One of the steps is finding out what the technology and tools are that are available and how to make them work together. So just the mechanics of making it happen. And then, yeah, the whole message and measurement and feedback and the conversations and all that, that can go on for a lifetime, mastering that. And then another slide, which I thought was interesting, is this 4 stats I care about. Can you see that one? I think not. It says my screen sharing is paused. Let me try that one more time. So I was talking about how people tend to measure number of subscribers. So these are some stats that Richard talked about caring about. One is surveys. So people who respond to surveys are people who take action. Appointments. So who actually shows up for more information or conversation. Follow-ups. Who reads and thinks and responds to the information that was provided. Follow-throughs. People who make the jump to light speed. We like to think we're all those, which is how we ended up here, at least as far as autonomy is concerned. You know, I wonder what the numbers are as far as how many people inquire and don't actually make it to the course. What thoughts do y'all have on this?
Sorry, my mute button was not working for me, but can you hear me?
Yep, got you now. Oh, now you got muted again. Let me, there you go.
Sorry.
Good. No worries. We're doing it live.
No, this is some more gold, you know, and like everywhere you look, there's gold, and you just kind of dig a little and you apply it to something, and it means so much more. But this is something that I was actually learning myself, you know, because I've been doing my affiliate code for a while. I think I'm into the number of like 600 clicks of people that have taken my affiliate and clicked or affiliate code and clicked it, right? But I've only got like one actual like survey filled out. And so like creating that, you know, like what is the understanding that I can like get them to that next level of interest is you know how I have to speak about autonomy when I'm introducing people to autonomy, you know, that I've got to encourage them to go that extra mile and like find out some more information, because, you know, if you understand it's an opportunity, you've got to take some action, and certainly taking some action in this particular area is going to be beneficial to you, you know. So yeah, convincing people of that, I think, is what kind of leads to this thing. And then this is also kind of how we practice things, because the survey is really about listening, you know. So by listening to other people's points of view on what they think, then we can identify where we can help them, you know, by setting up an appointment and saying, hey, I think I've got something of value that I could bring your way. And then, of course, following up. I mean, this is the next thing with the integration exercises, you know, is not just doing the interactions and the interviews, but then following up with those interviews, like finding out what are the next gold nuggets that person can bring to me, and saying, hey, let's schedule a time in the future where we can talk more about that. And that's also this idea of developing relationships, you know, is that it's not just, and I think Ron actually brings this into the table, this idea of consciously building relationships and building trusting relationships is, you know, where this comes down to. So excellent. Excellent.
Yeah, we didn't get into that. Here. Yeah, I didn't want to like cover his whole presentation, which was amazing, but right, he talked about how we conspire to not hold each other accountable, but then how we can consciously create something different through having a conversation about what we're up to here, what we're both committed to, and how we want to behave in this relationship with each other. Very, very powerful conversations. And then what resources, Michael, are available in Autonomy to support you in sorting out what's missing?
Well, I think that's kind of where, you know, learning through experience is where it's at, you know, and you know, kind of being able to interview each other and interact with other people that have been through it a few times, as well as the people that are going through it the first time. I mean, for me, this is one of the reasons that I keep coming back, is because I keep interacting with the new people and saying, okay, what is your experience? Because, you know, because I'm also, I mean, I'm interested in making this thing better, you know, and that's why I continue to be here, is because I want to offer suggestions on how we can do it better. And, you know, certainly the engagement and like what people are taking away from it. Are they engaged? Are they interested? Is it stimulating their curiosity? All those kind of things are questions that I'm asking because I want to know if we're you know, if we're hitting the right buttons when it comes to what people need. But you know, that also from the other point of view is where, you know, the new student coming in and talking to me and talking about the experience that I'm having and all the kind of advanced levels of different things that I've worked my way into with experiences, you know, throughout Autonomy, with like what you said, the additional resources that are available. You know, go into Autonomy Toasters, go into the copywriting clinic, go into the individual shows that, you know, people put on, like Chris's work with the channel that he's got, and Kara with the things that she's doing, and, you know, all the other offerings as far as the other courses. There's just a depth of different information out there that if it interests you, if it's something that you're curious about, now it's just another morsel of a path that somebody else has already taken that you can jump onto and then just kind of accelerate to the front where they're at, and start really, you know, helping really find stuff out, you know, about things that are interesting to you.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing the copywriting clinic. Maybe, hopefully she'll offer it next season and I'll be able to jump in on it next season or watch the recordings.
Oh man, it's golden, and I will protest greatly if she ever decides to get rid of it. her and Agnieszka too, by the way, they are a great team, and they each bring something to the table that just is another demonstration of like what autonomy and what we were talking about earlier, as far as the uniqueness that people bring to the table. They just have these different perspectives that when you put them together, it's magical.
Yeah. Now Agnieszka has taught something separately as well, right? I think.
Well, I mean, she's a psychosomatic therapist, and then she's got a bunch of other things. I mean, she's multilingual by far, and so then she's got all of these. You know, she brings the power of the word from so many different understandings. And you know, I can just go on and on, but she brings a lot to the table in a lot of different areas, and you know, just like putting your idea in front of them in the copywriting clinic, and then being able to kind of offer, you know, advice and suggestions, and kind of learn from, you know, throwing it out there and seeing, you know, what's the positives and negatives of this idea, and having that evaluated from a point of view of like people that are on the cutting edge of like getting people's attention, and you know, and driving people's interest toward the thing that they're interested in. They're expert, you know, we've got experts at that.
Yeah, it's I love this community, you know, like that people are spending their spare time helping each other succeed and learn like this.
Yeah. And Kat, just to jump in real quick to clarify on copywriting, if you have time this summer when Autonomy wraps up, Kara has a paid course offering, and that's pre-recorded modules. So you can hop in and do that on your own time. And then her ongoing project, I believe, is the monthly meetings.
Oh, great.
So you could, and she records those and you can watch the replays. And then you can also do the step-by-step modules on your own time in her paid course, just to clarify that. And then Mike, one other thing is, I just really appreciate your like upperclassmen, so to speak, presence of welcoming newer students. I think that is really, really valuable because we have a lot of lessons to unlearn from school, like what we learn subject matter wise, but also just that fear, you know, like, oh my gosh, I'm new here. Am I going to be accepted? Am I gonna, you know, like, what do I do? I'm the newbie. I'm the freshman. So having somebody that you know has been around and experienced, just like reaching out personally and offering an interview and being welcoming, to me, that really made a big difference right off the bat. So thanks for that.
Well, thank you for now acknowledging it. But I would say from my point of view, it's just as valuable from my point of view. And so that's kind of one of the things that, you know, I would say is very useful in valuing people for being unique and important to the rest of us as a community. That, like, being able to take somebody that wants to learn something and wants to explore the world and be a more powerful figure in it, that helping them do that ends up helping all of us, you know. And so as a community, we're better because you're engaged and you're here.
Well, welcome to the new people that have come on. Anyone want to share about this week in autonomy?
My mind's kind of blank, but yeah, I tuned into the lecture yesterday, and it got my gears turning, sort of, about just thinking more about building out my website, sort of what my offer to the world is. And also just, I liked that it kind of was more condensed this week than sort of previous weeks. Sometimes it can get long-winded, and I appreciated that we had room for Q&A at the end before 2 a.m. So that was good.
Yes, I usually find myself listening to the replay. After about 11 p.m. I'm done.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's nice that we have the replays. Yeah. Did you ask any questions?
I did. I was just kind of venting about what was going on at work with our merger that we're doing. And I mean, it's fine. It's just kind of dramatic, and a lot of other folks are more disgruntled, and they're, you know, I don't know if they're social media trolls or what, but like, there's people, I guess, in the you know, remote chat or whatever, people taking some jabs at the company, and I'm glad I'm not in that sort of mindset myself. And I'm just kind of rolling with the punches. So it's definitely a learning experience. It's a little bit stressful with the change, with all the meetings, lots of buzzwords and sleepy meetings. But just kind of wanted to run that by Richard yesterday, and that was good. And maybe I'll try to tune in tomorrow too for a little bit.
Did you see the Zig Ziglar, I hate my job later?
Yes, absolutely. And that was pretty powerful when I first experienced it last season. Just trying to get into that mindset. It's like, there's a lot that's good here. And if nothing else, you know, being able to do my 45 hours, get my paycheck, and go about the rest of my day feeling decent, it's not too bad. So being able to be grateful even when I'm feeling a little grumpy about things is it's something of a superpower. You know, it keeps you going where, you know, it's easy to get just sort of down, like, oh, I'm trapped in this job, and oh my God, the capitalism, and there's so many people who get trapped into that mindset, and they're just not having a good time in life.
Yeah, these days it seems like there's just more and more and more of that. So it's a real challenge to maintain that positive frame of mind with everything that's going on. And the more we learn about what's going on behind the scenes, you know, I guess it's good to deal with reality, right? Like, it's always better to know what's actually going on to the extent you can, or at least to know what is BS, which is becoming easier and easier to spot and more prevalent, but it can get very discouraging. So yeah, I'm actually thinking of like playing that video at the end here, just because it was so good. Like, I think I want to start doing that exercise about things I like, right? About the world, about life.
Yeah, just take some time to be grateful, because there's so much to be grateful for.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone see anything you're grateful for today? Maybe we need to watch the video first. All right. For anyone who didn't see it, we'll watch a bit of it. Can you hear it?
A number of years ago, Laurie Majors, my executive assistant, got a phone call from a lady in Birmingham, Alabama. At the end of the conversation, she said, Jake, she said, I believe this woman thinks she's got an impossible problem, but I believe you can solve that problem with her in just a few minutes if you will spend that time with her. I said, well, Laurie, tell her to meet me backstage. I'll get there about 10 minutes early. My schedule was such that was about all I had. Well, I got there and I was on backstage behind the curtain on one side. She spotted me from the other side. And as she walked across the stage, I have never seen as much anger in a human being in my life as I saw in her. She almost started crying when she saw me. She said, oh, I'm just so glad to see you. I got this horrible job. I hate it. I hate everything about it. I hate everybody down there. I mean, you talking about negative nails. She was hit. She said, can you help me? Now, understand, I've only got about 10 minutes. So I looked at her, and one thing I have learned, I don't do counseling, but I talk with a lot of people who do, in psychology, psychiatry, and the ministry. And they tell me that everybody who comes to you with a problem are not necessarily looking for a solution. I couldn't understand that for a long time. Why do they bring you a problem if they don't want to solve it? Well, I can tell you why. They want to tell you about it, you about it, you about it, you about it, you about it. And if you foul up the deal and solve the problem, they can't tell you again, you again. They want the attention that goes with the problem. And every company just about it has that kind of an individual. They want the attention that goes with griping and complaining. Well, I looked at the lady, and it wasn't unkindly, but firmly I said to her, yes, and you know, ma'am, I'm afraid your problem is about to get worse. She said, what do you mean? I said, I believe they're going to fire you. She was stunned. I couldn't have stunned her more if I'd hit her in the face with a bucket of ice water. She said, fire me? Why on earth would they fire me? Inflection in her voice clearly said, they're the bad guys. I'm the good guy. Why don't they fire them and keep me? Have you ever noticed that people who are the problem never recognize that they are? They're in complete denial. They think denial is just a river in Egypt. Why would they fire me? I said, ma'am, I don't believe there's a company in America big enough to contain this much poison in one small spot. Have you ever noticed that when somebody is about to lose something they've been complaining about, whether it's a car, a home, a mate, a job, or whatever, when all of a sudden it appears they're going to lose them, it takes on brand new value. She looked at me and said, well, what can I do? I said, do you really want to know? She said, yes, I do. That's the reason I came to see you. I came looking for help, but you sure haven't been any help so far. I said, well, ma'am, I've got an idea. And I will absolutely guarantee you it positively, definitely, absolutely will work if you will just do it. She said, I'll try anything within reason. I said, okay, when you get home tonight, all of your household tasks are complete. It's bedtime. Get off in a room right by yourself. Get a sheet of paper out. And at the top of it, write, I like my job because. She interrupted me. She said, that'll be easy. I don't like nothing about that job. Don't like nothing about those people down there. And I said, well, just as a matter of curiosity, do you work there for benevolent reasons or do they pay you for working there? She said, well, I got to confess, they pay me. And I said, you don't like to be paid? Oh, she said, yes, I do. I said, okay, tell you what you do. Open your notebook right now. We'll start our list of the things you like about your job. They pay you for working there and you do like it, don't you? She said, absolutely. But she just stood there. I said, no, open your notebook now and we'll get busy on the list. She just stood there. I said, ma'am, let me tell you what my experience in life has been. I've discovered that in 100% of the cases, no exception, people who won't take step number one never take step number two. You see, she had come to me with an impossible dream. Her dream was that nice Mr. Ziegler was going to solve all of her problems and she would live happily ever after. But folks, I got news for you. I can't solve her problems. I can't solve your problems. But I will give you some steps that I'll absolutely, definitely, and positively will work for you, as it worked eventually for her. I said, well, ma'am, let me tell you something. Unless you're willing to take step number one right now, it's been nice talking to you. She angrily opened her notebook. Before we got through, there were 22 things she liked about her job. Not only did they pay her for working there, they paid her above average. She had 3 weeks vacation with pay. She had a retirement program. She was in on profit sharing. She had health insurance, life insurance, and accident insurance. She lived less than 10 minutes from home. She was in on management decisions. The company sent her to 3 seminars a year to be paid for. She had her own private office and parking place. 22 things that she liked about her job. Now I said, ma'am, when you get home tonight, everything is finished. Get off in a room right by yourself. Close the doors. Change one word from I like my job to I love my job. Get in front of that mirror, and folks, I cannot say this strongly enough, but I'm going to try. The eyes are the windows of the soul. Look yourself in the eye, and with excitement and enthusiasm, say, I love my job because they pay me for working there. I love my job because they pay me above average for working there. I love my job because they have a wonderful insurance program. I love my job before every one of the statements. You will sleep better that night. You see, there's something hidden in what I'm saying to you now. When she says, I like my job, she's really saying, I'm grateful for my job. And of all of the emotions we can have, according to Hans Selye, the #1 stress specialist in America, the healthiest of all human emotions is gratitude. I said, you go down that list. I like my job. I love my job, rather. That is a way of gratitude. You'll sleep better the first night. Tomorrow morning, when you get up, get back in front of the mirror just before you go to work. Get back in front of the mirror and repeat the process again with excitement and enthusiasm. I love my job because, and take the list with you. Because the reality is, you see, you will have started to change from a fault finder to a good finder. Some people do really find fault like there's a reward for it. They really do. Take the list with you, and you will be able to add to that list, absolutely guaranteed. Do this every morning and every night, and you will have an astonishing recovery from this advanced case of stinking thinking. Now, I didn't say that to her, but I'm saying it to you. That's what it was. It was an advanced case of stinking thinking. Well, 6 weeks later, I was back in Birmingham, Alabama. I was doing a follow-up sales seminar. Now, the lady was not in sales, but she had been listening to my tapes. She had been listening to Automobile University, and she had discovered that everybody sells. Everybody who will ever hear this is in selling. Whether you're a school teacher, a civil service worker, a military personnel, an executive secretary, it doesn't make any difference. What you do, you sell every day of your life. There she was at the sales seminar, seated on the front row, Goodness, so why she could have eaten a banana sideways. I'm telling you, you're talking about somebody that was excited. She was turned on. I said, well, how you done? She grinned even more broadly and said, Mr. Ziegler, I'm doing wonderfully well. And thank you for asking. She said, you cannot believe how much those people down there have changed. I got a lid on the line, folks. You're not going to change anybody else. Did you change it? Everything really does begin with you. Now, you see, the unfortunate thing, this lady had been raised in a very negative environment.
All right. Zig Ziglar, what an amazing speaker he was. What'd you hear in that?
Boy, that's a good one. I certainly had the privilege and honor of getting to go to a couple Zig Ziglar seminars when I was younger, and man, I tell you, he is the consummate confidence guy. He just, you walk out of there like you're standing on top of a building, and the way he brings it across, he's something else. There's an association called the National Speakers Association, and they have an award that's called, I believe it's the Cabot Award, which is like named of one of their first presidents. But Zig Ziglar is a recipient of that award, being that he's such a powerful speaker. And there's another guy that is kind of in our extended community, Terry Brock, that has won that award as well.
Oh, wow.
And, he's certainly somebody that I would love to bring to our community, and vice versa, because he's got that kind of power. But as far as that, man, there's so much good in that little story. Just well done. Well done. You're seeing gold, man, and you're bringing it.
Yeah. 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 And Ron had a question. I forgot what his party question was. I don't know if you remember that he likes to ask people about parties. It was something about like what's going on that matters to you, or, something like that. I like to ask people, what do you love about your life? That's such a great conversation starter. And it makes people think, it takes them back. Some people can't even answer that. Maybe like that lady, right? Some people can say, well, what do you like? They can answer what they like. It's moving towards what they're grateful for, what they're passionate about, what's important to them. And those are conversations that make a difference.
Well, there's, as far as some evidence of some psychology that is kind of on the cutting edge of stuff, is one thing that Bob Podolsky, who's another member of our community, talks about, and this idea of people want to be loved. But if they can't be loved, they'll seek approval. And if they can't get approval, they'll seek attention. And if they can't get attention from doing good things, they'll do bad things. And it's not something that is just a conscious thing. It's a subconscious thing. It's kind of a human thing. It's part of our nature. And, I think this is kind of demonstrated in this little story that Zig tells, is like, when you kind of go down that path, you end up at this point where you're angry at everything. And it's really about your inability to like love yourself or get love from other people that you need to address. And, the way that that story is told is one in which love solves the problem, and that's kind of what I think, is a really bigger thing. It's this communicative function of aberrant behavior. When people are doing bad things, there's a reason behind that, that we need to examine and take time to look at, not just the bad things, but also the good things, to really get a balanced idea and understanding of like what's going on, because there's something that's missing, and we can help each other by
right.
recognizing that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great way of looking at it.
Kat, that's a really interesting technique, and I'm going to use it. Because as I thought it through, I'm like, you know what? I think our default position is to jump into negative small talk if we don't have a common ground, or you're just getting to know, not necessarily bad, but, you know, complain about this or complain about that, or complain about gas prices, or like, it's just natural to jump right into the negative. And so guiding the conversation that way to something positive is great. And it's also a little bit more risky to share something that we love, because maybe you could be judged for that more than just like poo-pooing everything, right?
So. Yeah.
But I like that.
Yeah, it's easy to be the critic. There's a whole poem about that. I'll have to find it and share it in the Discord.
Well, I'll add to that. You know, in an environment where people are not trusting of each other, it's kind of one of those things where you want to hold your cards. And so I think to some degree, what we're describing as nature is actually kind of the effect of conditioning and programming of this crazy kind of anti-culture society that we've got, that we're part of. That leads us to this kind of negative reaction to things, because we feel like, you know, there's nobody to trust. And, you know, like by creating the circumstance where we create an environment where people are trustworthy and supportive, and it allows us to be a lot more comfortable about how we feel and being able to communicate how we feel. A whole different dynamic takes place.
Totally. And there are theories about learning, and learning taking place when there's safety and play. You know, it's just a much more conducive environment to people learning and growing.
Yes, that's our motto at our house. When the tears come, the learning's done.
Oh.
That's how we have to homeschool here.
Yeah, that's a good one. Oh, and how do you bring it back when the tears come?
Well, when I figure that out, I will let you know.
Excellent. Yeah, homeschooling people need to know these things. All right. Well, anything else anyone would like to add now?
Can I add, nice job, Kat?
Thank you, Adam.
It was good. I think you did an awesome job. If you can get me to stop talking, you get extra points.
Apparently I did, without even trying.
No, I think it was awesome. You know, as Jill was talking about having her outline and things like that, and then I had stuff to do anyways, but the outline and wanting to get through stuff, and you said, yes, I have an agenda. I want to get through that, and it's my show. No, honestly, that was really cool. Taking control and really keeping the ball rolling. I think I have been on many interviews, and yes, some people just sit there and stare at you, and some people ask questions and guide and take control. So I think you did an awesome job.
Thank you. Thank you for participating and contributing and being here.
Con mucho gusto, with much pleasure.
I guess I'll add something I wanted to mention, and Jill's a part of it. Just a couple of weeks ago, we did an interview with Stephanie and Joshua on homeschooling in the Leadership Ethics and Organization meeting. And Jill was supposed to be a part of that, but she couldn't. But she's engaging in taking over the one-room schoolhouse. And I wanted to give her an opportunity to explain where she's at with that, and like what are the next steps for those of us that are in autonomy and want to contribute to or understand what's going on in the one-room schoolhouse.
All right. Well, thank you, Mike. I know I just feel so bad about not being there for that discussion, but I'm glad you want to have more conversations. And when Kat asked that question, that was kind of tongue in cheek. I actually do. I don't want to make it sound like we just sit around and cry all day.
I knew you had an answer. You're just like holding back on us.
But I do have some answers to that maybe with Mike's show or One Room Schoolhouse would be great places to explore that. And that is my goal. I don't have a course to offer yet. I'm in the back of my mind. I'm working through some high school options, but yes. So One Room Schoolhouse, where we're at with that is my original vision was just a support and discussion forum, because I have found that helpful in my homeschooling journey to have in-person support and online forums around a common viewpoint. So I was just thinking of gathering autonomy homeschoolers together and supporting each other that way. And every time I've mentioned it, somebody said, oh, we'll have a meeting, record it. And so again, that would be pushing me a little bit outside of my comfort zone and my expertise. But if that's what's needed, I'm willing to give it a shot. So Sid, I had an interview with Sid and he challenged me with a follow-up. So the follow-up was, what's your next step and when are you going to do it? So I said, well, my step is I have to figure out the Loom program and then send Joshua some questions that I have about administering Discord and about scheduling meetings. So I did that. And so now Joshua and I are just kind of in communication. I know that he's sick and busy and has a lot on his plate. So just kind of working through what that might look like. So I'm in a little bit of a holding pattern with it, but I'm open to suggestions. And also it's a little bit, it's interesting because I don't in any way want to present myself as an expert or like, this is my program, because I even look back a year from now at what I thought I knew and how much I've grown and changed since then. So like, it's a constant progression for all of us, but I'm happy to share my experiences with the community if it's helpful.
You're one step ahead of a lot of people, right? There's a lot of people that don't know where to begin. So you can already answer a lot of their questions that you don't even maybe realize how far you've come.
Yeah, I feel like right now that's the main value I could add is just getting started and all the interesting options out there. I've kind of tried a little bit of everything. So just maybe helping open people's eyes to just the richness of homeschooling and the options that they have available to them.
Yeah. Awesome.
I did want to jump in if I could.
Yeah.
I was off making eggs, so I couldn't do it earlier. About the gratitude thing, I think there's an interesting paradox that I think people should be aware of as well with the gratitude stuff, is that you want to be careful not to be lying to yourself to make yourself just have a more positive outlook that isn't really yours. So you can definitely there's very well known, very well established sort of psychological power to being grateful, but it's in my opinion more important to make sure that you're not mistaking learned helplessness for gratitude. And so I can say that sort of from experience, because I am far more productive when I'm not grateful at all, but instead very annoyed at whatever the problem is that I'm working on, because it makes me focus on it more. Not everyone is like that, but it used to be when I was younger. I'm slowly getting back to this, where it's like, if you put me in a room and gave me a cup of coffee or like a shot of espresso or something, in about an hour, that room would be completely spotless, to the point where I would like rearrange furniture and like clean the walls and everything, because any random thing that annoyed me, I would fix. And I find that I've always found that to be much more powerful. Now, granted, that's also because I created some sort of psychological tricks for myself to make my brain reactively take negativity, especially fear. Was that? Sorry.
Rosemary's giggling over there.
I'm sorry. I didn't.
But to reactively take negative emotion, especially fear, and transform it into this sort of hybrid positive negative emotion mix that kind of pushed me against whatever it is I had just reacted to. And so what this would ironically do, and I have to be very careful about this these days now that I'm older, especially for like exercise, is, let's say I was doing exercise and I was not able to do sort of, let's say, one more push-up. My inability to do that would annoy me, which would make me push harder. And if I still couldn't do it, it would kind of keep going and doing that. And so I would end up pushing myself like beyond the point of pain and stuff. And that's not healthy. But nonetheless, that type of psychological trick was super productive and had nothing to do with the gratitude. But that isn't to say the gratitude stuff isn't good. It's just that really, like, I think a very, very important aspect that is almost never talked about these sorts of things is that you know, positive emotion isn't always positive.
Yes.
Like feeling good isn't always a good thing. I run into this a lot when I talk to people who have the whole thing of like, well, the highest goal is unconditional love or whatever. Like that's what they want. That's what the point of this. And when I hear that from people, the way people tend to describe it is it sounds like a drug addict. It sounds like someone who just wants that high all the time. And it's like, no, you know, that's, you're basically someone saying that, especially when it's unconditional, they're saying, well, then you don't want to improve. You want it to just happen because you just want to feel good. And that's like, you know, someone addicted to morphine or something. Like that's what it sounds like to me. And so with the gratitude stuff, it's like, yeah, it's powerful, but you really, really have to be very rational about it and make sure you're not actually conditioning yourself into learned helplessness so that you stop to basically avoid pain, because then that's not going to do any good for you. You have to be, you know, pretty careful with that stuff. And this isn't like a new concept. There's a lot of fiction, for example, that is based on this idea of like resisting good feelings, of like something trying to lull you to sleep, so you just sort of, you know, do nothing, and because it feels good. So
right.
So it's not like this is a new thing. So I just feel like it's always important to point that out whenever people bring up the positive psychology stuff, especially stuff around gratitude and being thankful for what you have and all that stuff. Because if you do too much of that, then you take no action.
Right. What was it? Brave New World that they had that drug that made
Soma.
happy?
Yeah,
Soma. Yeah.
There's also interestingly a game also called Soma, which is based on this idea, but it's more based on the idea of like value of it has a huge, it's a very important sort of philosophical look at things like suicide and value of life and value of feelings and stuff like that, because it's basically that whole idea of, you know, is feeling good like really all it's cracked up to be? Should you soldier on no matter what, you know, all these sorts of things. And it's a thing that directly deals with some of those questions, which I think is pretty amazing. Yeah. But yeah, like that's something that I feel is super important. Whenever people bring up like compassion or gratitude or love, it's like there is an incredibly dark side to that stuff that people never talk about, and they really should. Just because just it feels good doesn't necessarily mean it is. Just because it feels bad doesn't necessarily mean it is.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd bring that up.
Yep. Thank you for that. Yeah. Growth can feel bad, difficult, right? That struggle. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Very uncomfortable sometimes. Yeah. Yep. So many things are double-sided.
I feel like just like with everything, you have to add that disclaimer of like everybody has, or not everybody, some people could potentially have a exceptional circumstance where this doesn't apply, right? And maybe this is where the English language fails us a little bit, is we have one word that covers a lot of nuanced variations. So I understand what Ryan's saying, but maybe that's a little different than I feel like what Zig Ziglar was saying, you know, because that negative mindset doesn't get you anywhere good either, but you don't want to just be happy and accept abuse and be grateful for it. But I think those are two different things and two different circumstances, right?
That's where community comes in too. I've found that community is really valuable in helping people discern. Sometimes when one person is in the middle of a situation, it's actually hard for that person to determine which it is. Is it a an okay situation that they should learn to adapt to and have a positive attitude about? Or is it a situation that calls for change? The one in it doesn't always know, especially if they're younger, you know, or just been in it a while, whatever. So that calls to the importance of a very healthy, supportive community where we will care for each other and keep an eye on each other and support each other.
Yeah, I would just add, you know, convenience is like an example of that. You know, convenience isn't a bad thing, but convenience can lead to bad things if you let it get out of control, you know, and you like take it out of perspective. And, you know, to a large degree, like distractions and stuff can be convenient. They can be positive for you in the short term, but in the long term, it can totally blow up the program, you know. So it's I mean, this is a great example of like the learning experience that you have in autonomy, because we have different perspectives. It isn't just like, hey, everything, this is the good thing and that's what we all got to do. It's everything has kind of gradients of good things that are part of it and bad things are part of it, and being able to like see both of those is where you really get the richness and quality of life that we're all looking for, you know, is being able to make our own choices about where our gradients lie and what's good for us and what serves us the best.
Yeah, in our community and the world. I'm really looking forward to doing the logic course too. So essential, given how much, like we were talking about, nonsense gets thrown around. So to be able to discern and to have well-structured conversations, bringing different ideas to light and respecting each other's perspectives, and then we all learn and grow together. So thanks all for an awesome call. And does anyone else have anything to add before we end for today? All right.
Awesome, Kat. Thanks for everything.
Thank you, Jill. All righty, everybody have a great rest of the day and see you on Q&A tomorrow.
Great job, Kat. Everyone. See you guys tomorrow.
Bye.
Glad I came.
Wow.
All righty. And thank you everyone for being here. And what am I supposed to say at the end? Thanks for tuning in. Thanks everybody who came. And join us again next week. And first, make sure you subscribe to this podcast on YouTube so that you'll never miss an episode. And if you want to know how you can get autonomy, go to getautonomy.info and tell them Kat sent you. Bye, everybody.
Well done, Kat. Well done. Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.